Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Viva Physical Media. It finally happened.
It did. You might be wondering what's inside this bag.
And you might be wondering what's inside this wrapper.
It's Baconator.
It's Baconator.
It's Baconator.
One of our loyal viewers finally came through and got us all Baconators, or got us all gift cards to get Baconators at any rate. And so thank you very much. Thanks,
you.
Bob, Robert. And
oh my gosh.
Anyway, here we go.
This is my first Baconator, by the way, you guys. I know I talk a lot. I've only had sons of Baconators.
Holy shit. Well, here we go, diving right in.
Also to our vegetarian and vegan viewers.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can fast forward.
Yeah, just skip this part. See you on the other side. Oh yeah, that's good.
That's a lot of meat.
That's good stuff. Welcome back to Viva Physical Media. We are all full of Baconators.
We're all Baconated up.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much. That doesn't mean you guys need to stop getting us Baconators.
That's true.
It truly doesn't.
That's true. But you know, for now,
we are good, and probably for like a little bit.
Yeah, we're good for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm feeling it already.
Today,
episode 33.
Episode
Double
33.
Threes.
Damn. Today's also Super Bowl Sunday. We're recording this on an odd day, on a Sunday.
It's our Super Bowl Sunday because we're eating Baconators. We have some fancy beers.
We do. Washington Brewed in Woodinville.
Black Raven Pilsner.
Raven. Good stuff. I've got my traditional Super Bowl shirt on. I didn't actually watch the Super Bowl today, but these are all the years.
Going to the back?
I don't know. It depends on if what happens. I didn't actually get to watch the Super Bowl today just because of reasons. It didn't,
Yeah. I hope if you guys are watching the Super Bowl that the outcome was in your favor.
I hope both teams won.
I hope everyone just had a good time.
I just want the teams to have fun.
I hope you guys had some good snacks.
Oh, yeah.
I love a Super Bowl party. I love
the
snacks and the beer and the camaraderie.
This episode is a little late.
It's late, you guys, because it got me.
Yep.
COVID got me.
Omicron.
I got Omicron.
You got Omicron.
I got OMG-acron.
But you're okay now.
I'm okay, and it was fine. Luckily, I was vaxxed and boosted. Just like staying in my house. Luckily, I love watching movies, so.
Yeah, you got more movie watching.
That's what I just did. I watched a bunch of trash movies that I can't even remember anymore. Watched a bunch of
anything good that stands out?
I did watch something a couple nights ago. I didn't have COVID at the time, but I watched it a couple nights ago. I'm not going to talk about it.
It doesn't matter if you had COVID or not.
I watched The Magnificent Butcher.
Oh, the Sammo Hung movie? That's great.
It was so fucking good,
yeah.
You guys. It's absolutely delightful. The choreography of the fighting is mesmerizing.
Sammo Hung, he's great.
Sammo Hung is so funny and like talented, and the movie was just like a barrel of laughs and weird shit all around.
It is mesmerizing. You're like, this guy, and it's also and also his movies are fucking funny. Have you seen Encounters of the Spooky Kind? I would recommend that.
Any
of
his movies besides that, and like maybe one other movie. But my friends have been super into him lately, and they watched Wheels on Meals. Which they recommended to me to watch. So that might be up next.
Sweet.
The villains of that movie too, like Weird Cat. Do you remember that? That guy?
No, it's been. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen some of this.
This guy who pretends to be a cat while he does all this martial arts stuff.
Oh, right.
And it's just like really unsettling. Now back in action, ready for episode 33. How have you been?
Good. Yeah, I'm fine.
Besides the diarrhea dogs.
Yeah, I was taking care of some sitting some dogs last week that had diarrhea for parts of the week, so that was fun.
So we both overcome some struggles in the past 2 weeks, and that's why your episode is a week late. But we have been in talks about doing a Patreon, not switching this to a Patreon. You guys are still going to get this episode.
Yeah, but it'd be Scarecrow Viva bonus features.
And so it'd be a bunch of fun extra stuff and cool VIP only material and bonus content. In the works doing that. If you guys have any ideas or suggestions about what you would love to see on a Patreon, just email us, viva@scarecrow.com, or you can throw it in the comments below. we're excited about doing that and
Yeah.
giving you guys more stuff outside of the norm. Keep an ear out for information on a spring fundraiser, telethon.
Yep, that'll be coming up.
That's gonna
probably
come
not
up.
till like May.
Yeah.
So it'll be a few months off. So, but we'll be promoting that pretty soon.
And I guess
That's all we got.
Start talking about movies.
Let's just get into this. Let's go. Let's
All right,
start. We'll do it.
let's go.
Okay. Okay.
Bye. Just kidding.
What? Mailbag.
Breaking, another edition of Mailbag.
This just in, mailbag.
We got some mail. We got it in a bag, and we're here to read it for you. Hi, Emily, Kevin, and Rich. John from NY again. NY. John from New York again. Think I might have peaked with my replace actors with dogs question from a little while back. Haha. True, that's a great question. I think about it a lot. So instead of a question this time around, I wanted to recommend a new, to me, hangout movie I watched a few weeks back that I enjoyed, and it's called
Les Coquillettes.
Thanks
And-
for all the great movie recs. All the best, John.
Yeah, and I looked it up. I don't think we have that movie, and I was trying to find if there's even one available. So I'm gonna have
Did
to.
you
we're gonna have to
search
look at
the translated title?
I did at the time, but that was a week ago, and so but we're gonna look into it,
Well,
and if
sorry,
we can find
John.
it.
Just kidding.
No. Yeah.
I don't
No, I
think
wanna-
it's real, John. Don't think it exists.
I want to look it up because it sounds great. If it's a hangout movie, that's one of my secret code words for
Yeah.
movies I
About the
love.
hangout.
Hangout.
Yeah, we'll try to track this down. John, if you have any insider info on getting this movie, let us know.
This was along with our Baconator
Gift card package.
gift card package. Also some coupons to Wendy's.
Oh yeah, we gotta distribute
So
those.
we've got some. So it was a whole Wendy's package. It was great. But this card, I don't know if you know, anybody knows this artist Brandon Bird. He's great. Look up brandonbird.com. But this is
I want that shirt.
a painting, and it's like a Halloween costume. You know those Halloween costumes you get with the plastic masks, but it's Philip Seymour Hoffman's character from Magnolia.
And it just has his face. It has his the picture of his
Yeah, well, that's what they do
character
on
the
those things. You'd have the plastic bib thing that they give you, and it would just have the picture of the mask you're wearing of the character on there. So you'd be like Luke Skywalker, and then a picture of Luke Skywalker, and you'd have a Luke Skywalker
What?
mask.
That's crazy. I don't even.
You didn't have those?
No.
Those were all washed up when you were
Yeah, those were all
when you
washed
started
up.
Halloweening.
Love this handwriting, by
Right?
the way. Some excellent cursive.
To Rich, Emily, and Kevin, thanks for continuing to preach the physical media gospel. Your next Baconator is on me, and so there you go.
And it was. And it was.
Speaking of awesome products with ridiculous names, do you have any favorite films you find hard to convince people to watch on account of goofy or schlocky titles? I know when I try to recommend TerrorVision or Chopping Mall, people don't usually take it too seriously. I'd love to hear any tips. Your loyal fan, Rob.
Thanks again for the Baconator and the cool card.
Yes.
I think we were kind of talking about this earlier, and I think it really depends on the audience, because we took your examples, and I was like, well, I don't think it would be hard to convince anyone to watch those, but it's because we just hang
Yeah.
out with a bunch of people who watch that type of shit.
It's so weird, yeah, because that's the thing. Is
I'm
that,
like, those titles sound cool.
well, I would one example of a movie I covered early on the show, like Attack of the Beast Creatures.
Yeah.
That would be a hard sell to a lot of people. Nobody that I really hang out with very often, though. Most of those people would be like, "Well, that sounds fun. Attack Beast Creatures. It's got all these all these
And
great
it
buzzwords."
delivers. Did you ever watch that movie, Butt Boy?
I didn't. I hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it. I guess that's an example. I'm trying to think of the stupidest titles, but
I mean, I made a movie called Hamburger Dad, and part of the reason we
But that's
made it was that
intriguing.
it was.
I don't think this works on me.
I know.
The stupider the title, the more I'm like, I gotta see that movie.
Right? And so again,
I'm looking all around too.
but again, I think it's who you're trying to sell it to.
It truly is. It truly is.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of silly movie titles. I mean, even movies that I think
it's
are
more boring titles are gonna be the ones that are hard to sell. If I was just this movie is called One Night,
yeah.
I'd be like, come on, tell me a bit. You're not hooking me with that title.
Right. Or
But if I was like, this movie is called the monster beneath your chair, I don't know. I'm just
Somebody get on making the monster beneath your chair right now. I know somebody out there watching this is a filmmaker. Just start making monster beneath your chair.
I'd be like, what's the monster? What's the monster beneath my chair? And then I'd be
Beneath your chair.
I gotta watch this. I gotta see
in
it.
the audience.
But if it was the same movie but called One Night, I'd be like, one night, whatever.
I feel like one that's hard to sell to like people is like foreign movies sometimes because they have a weird title. So I took some friends to see Titan, and of course everybody says Titan or Titan or whatever. No, nobody in America says it right. It's Titan is the correct pronunciation.
Right.
It doesn't matter, but it's that kind of thing where you have to like.
It matters. So if you guys have been calling it Titan, you better fucking change it right now if you want to sound like you know what you're doing.
But I mean, you have to give people the title, which is already a weird word that they are maybe going to mispronounce and feel weird about, and then you have to when it's a foreign title, you have to explain what it's about to you. It's this movie, and then here's what it's about.
Also with movies that are just people's names, just movies that require more explanation. Like if I was just like, you got to see this movie, Carol.
Yeah.
You'd be like, wait, what? Or Annette.
Right. Like, okay, but
and I'd be like, well, no, it's a.
What's happening to Carol or Annette? Is there anything?
What? Yeah, and then you'd be like, these drones fly baby Annette into the fucking this whole thing.
Wow.
Also, where the fuck is that Blu-ray?
Well, there's not a Blu-ray released here yet. We'll see. Get on it, whoever.
Come on, guys.
Doing that. Movies with exciting titles like Chopping Mall and TerrorVision.
Not a hard sell for this crowd.
So I guess we're the wrong people. But yeah, but boring titles like that, like people's names where it's like, Michael Clayton? Like really good movies.
Jerry?
Right? Really good movies, both, but
Crash.
also like.
See,
now you're just naming titles from over there.
Yeah.
What about titles that carry baggage? Like if someone wanted to see something and you're like, well, what you want to see is you're into this kind of thing. You want to see Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Sure.
Oh, I heard that movie sucks. I don't know anything about it, but I just heard it's really bad. And it is bad in certain metrics, but it's also interesting because it's full of heart and, a guy wanted to make this movie.
Yeah, titles that come with their own connotations. Or
yeah, that's true. Well, and I was thinking of movies that I think are classics, like Evil Dead 2. And to some people, you're going to go, this is one of the greatest movies ever made. And they're going to go, a movie called Evil Dead 2 is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah.
Now I have a lower opinion of you for saying that out loud to me. I mean, that's not people I hang out with normally, but I imagine somebody has thought that before.
Kevin, let's fucking get them.
So I don't know if that answered your question, but I guess it answered a different question, which is like, are we the audience for that to be a problem? And the answer is no. If someone says, hey, this is a movie called Maximum Overdrive, I'm like, well, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone said to you, hey, there's this movie, it opened up. It's called The Man Who Killed Hitler and then also the Bigfoot. And you're like, what? And I'm like, I want to see that fucking movie.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's a hard sell for some people. Yeah. So anyway, no specific titles, but like
it all depends on what you're looking for.
I think we rambled around the question a lot.
Love answering a question without answering the question. If any of you guys watching have any movies that you love that have dumb titles or just weird titles, go ahead and email us.
Yeah, email us, shout them out in the comments, any of that stuff.
This one is from Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Emalie, Kevin, and Rich. I'm typing this email very formally so as to not sound like a weirdo when Emalie reads it. Smiley face. Just wanted to write in and tell y'all how much I love the show. Also, here are my favorite new to me watches from last year. Raise the Red Lantern, 1991.
Great.
Night of the Iguana, 1964. Great. Savage, 1996. Direct-to-video masterpiece about a cyber caveman.
Okay. Well,
see, that's an example of you just say Savage, and I'm like, tell me more. And he even knew that would be the case because he went on to say it's about a cyber caveman. And now I'm hooked.
A shot on video.
Direct
to video.
Direct video, yeah.
But still, direct to video about a cyber caveman? Sold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goodbye Dragon Inn, 2003.
Great.
Like Someone in Love, 2012. Great. But I mean, between the two of us, I think we've seen most of these except for the cyber caveman movie, which now we're going to track down for sure. 2021 favorites. French Dispatch.
Yes.
Get Back. Titan. What if I was just like Titani? Dune.
Yeah.
Raging Fire. R.I.P.
heard-
Benny Chan. What's Get Back?
Get Back is that like 8-hour Peter Jackson.
Get Back.
Oh, Get Back. The Beatles. Yeah, the Beatles. We know. Yeah, Peter Jackson, the Beatles.
Beatles,
Those
rock
guys.
and roll music.
Yeah.
Okay, movie. Hey Jude.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And many more.
If you want to see us perform more Beatles songs, say you want to for our Patreon. All right. Movie watch goals for 2022. Oh yeah, you guys keep sending us your movie resolutions. Love this.
Yeah.
Currently trying to watch all the Abel Ferraras I haven't seen, which is amazing because I love that director.
I've seen some of Abel Ferrara, and I'm up and down on Abel Ferrara, but I do. He's a guy I'll check out a movie because like it's gonna be something.
Yeah.
Even if it's something where I'm like, that was something very bad. Even if his next movie will be maybe good. There's one that just came out like last year that I really want to see, that has Ethan Hawke playing twins in it.
Say no more.
It is an action movie, I think,
I've mostly
too.
just seen his older movies and not many of his recent recent ones. Thanks, Nick from Pennsylvania.
Nick from PA.
Just like Rich from Pennsylvania. You guys come from the same place.
This is a note at the beginning here. It says, below is a letter written on December 17th, 2021. At the time it was timely and relevant to the holiday season. This is not the case anymore. But gifts are always relevant, so enjoy. And this one is just addressed to only me and Emily. Sorry, Rich.
It's okay.
Okay. So it says, Dear Emily and Kevin, happy holidays. I'm sure he means happy holidays to you, too. So let's not.
I am not upset.
Unless he was like, not Rich. Don't even read this to him.
I hate cats.
So he says, in this package, I have 3 gifts, one for both of you and one for Scarecrow Video. For Kevin, I have Pupple Weekly Magazine.
Oh my gosh.
After hearing you talk about it, I had to take a look for myself, and now I wanted to pass the joy on to you. For Emily, I have Flawed Dogs, an awesome collaboration between a dog pound and poetry club that showcases the unadopted dogs of the year. And lastly, for Scarecrow, I have a movie, New Low. I noticed on the online search that seemed to be missing from your collection that was present in mine. This 2010 Sundance film stars Adam Bowers, director, writer, and lead, and is a solid romantic comedy that has an amazing soundtrack by Paul Barabeau. I hope you all have a wonderful December. Well, we had a pretty good December.
How do I know the name Paul Barabeau?
Dunno. VIVA Physical Media. Best regards, Ethan. So thanks, Ethan.
Ethan, this is awesome.
We'll show off our gifts here. So first of all, we'll go backwards, I guess. Here's the New Low is the movie he sent us, and so this is going to become part of the Scarecrow collection. I might check it out because that's awesome.
Do
that's
it,
cool.
and we'll also maybe we'll put it on our. We have a special section where it's just new stuff to the store.
This will definitely be in the new to store section. So yeah, so this is going up in the collection next week, probably.
This is cool. Oh my god! But look at this.
I know, and he didn't.
Long boy on the back. So it's basically.
It's like
it's like poems and then funny drawings of the dog in the poem, and then a sad drawing of the dog in the
cage,
shelter or whatever. So, for example, Tina. If Tina were a rhinoceros, she wouldn't seem so preposterous, but then she ain't, hence the complaint. It's a big dog.
It's knocked over this mailman.
And then I'm going to read you just like maybe one more.
Okay.
I don't know which ones. I'm just going. Jeeves, flimsy. One of the Patreon was just me like reading out loud because I have such an issue. It's just like different things. Flimsy Jill Gawkey picked Jeeves for his jowls, then moved to Milwaukee where winds always howl. One day on a walkie, she threw in the towel.
Oh.
And this is also kind of a really sad book because these dogs were all given back to the shelter according to these poems, and I'm just hoping.
But I think that I think the money from this was to like go to the shelter and like help
the last chance dog
help support dogs and stuff. So
yeah, so hopefully the dogs that are in question were adopted. Yeah. Piddleton Last Chance Dog Pound in Piddleton, Vermont. Piddleton Poetry Club, providing color commentary on each of the madly imperfect pooches.
And finally, this was something I mentioned on an earlier one. I can't remember how it came up, but this was a magazine I had when I was in like 7th grade, and I at some point, it went out of my collection because I was like, I don't need that anymore. I'm finished with it. And then I mentioned it, and I was kind of like, damn it. And I think I even said, like, hey, if anybody has one laying around. I remember. So Ethan apparently got intrigued enough by my mention. And it's called Pupple Weekly, and it's a parody of People magazine, but with dogs. And it's from, like, the late 80s. So all the dogs in it are, like, celebrities from the 80s. So it's, like, Barbara Streisand, Dog Johnson, Princess Fi. This is very formative for me in my sense of humor because it's all this. It's all
just
these,
like puns.
It's all dumb puns, but it's also like shit like this, like it's a whole spread that says dog. There's like 3 different cigarette ads in here where it's got dogs smoking cigarettes.
I love
don't
these
know if you
dog
can see this.
cigarette
Maybe I'll take a
ads.
picture of this and post it up.
It says you've
You can
come
see
a
it.
long way, bitch.
And that's the first page. You know, people food instead of dog food ad. Anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole magazine. It's
really
too good.
great.
His, it's like an Elton John guy. What's he called? Shelty John McWagger. I mean, it's
McWagger.
80 pages of just fucking dog puns.
Like dog gossip puns.
And dog gossip and
And
stuff.
then like ads, like car ads, like dogs riding in cars, dogs smoking cigarettes. What was that movie we watched? Mooch Goes to Hollywood?
Mooch Goes to Hollywood a little bit.
Yeah, like when she tries on all the wigs and stuff.
Yeah.
Similar vibes. Similar vibes.
Thanks for the trip down memory lane. It was awesome getting this the other day too, because I started flipping through it and immediately it was all came rushing back.
So was this were there multiple?
No. It's just like one parody
Okay.
magazine. They're in a pool and it's got this one dog has a cigarette and it says "Pleasure for smokers who only have 14 years to live anyway." Benji and Hedges.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to send us stuff. That's not technically movie related. Sort of. It's celebrities and stuff.
Yeah.
And also it's physical media. It's a bizarre piece of physical media that I had a memory of and I was like, that was, that thing that was so important to me for like a week or two.
Also, it's
or a
really
month.
thoughtful because it shows that our listeners are like listening.
That's Mailbag.
Yeah, if you want to send us mail, viva@scarecrow.com or 5030 Roosevelt Way, Northeast Seattle, Washington, 98105. Or come into the store, drop something off.
Just drop 'em off.
We might be here if you're lucky.
Sometimes we're here.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's it.
that's our mail.
Mailbag.
All right, we got a new segment of everyone's favorite, Raunch versus.
Rom.
So we all know that we play kind of fast and loose with how this is set up. Mm-hmm. But before we start, I want to go back and announce the winner of the last Raunch versus Rom battle.
Which was a while back, and so you might remember it was
a while back.
California Casanova.
It was California Casanova versus Serendipity.
And the clear winner by a mile. Nobody picked Serendipity.
Nobody picked
Serendipity. It was California Casanova,
Casanova.
That would have been my pick too, because I watched Serendipity. So.
And I would pick California Casanova, even though I wouldn't watch it again.
Right. Maybe they're both not very good, but one of them's got to be the winner.
There's got to be someone knocked out in that ring and a championship winner with the belt.
All right. So.
Highlander rules.
Exactly.
There can only be one.
And so who are the contenders today?
All right, in my corner of the ring, we have 1983 William Webb's California Girls. To refresh you guys on my weird rules, is I'm literally walking up the stairs to Scarecrow's comedy room, and I'm going through the titles, and I'm picking. It has to be earlier than 2000, so it has to be 90s and earlier. And I'm going alphabetically, and I'm just looking to see if it looks like a Raunch-com. So basically, like this one summer, or like we have to do this, or like we gotta get laid, like those kind of stakes, you know. This was next up. California Casanova was last time. California Girls is this time. Could be more Californias in my future. I don't know. It seems to be a hot spot for
Maybe
Raunch.
you'll jump to D next time, just to
Hopefully.
get out of the California.
Jump to the D for the Raunch, you know.
Oh, what?
All right. Who's in your corner of the ring?
And in this corner, and my rules are not as I'm not going alphabetically or theming it with Emalie's or anything. So my rules are just rom-coms are blind spot for me, and so I'm kind of going through and filling holes of ones I haven't seen. And I got a pretty big one this time that you all might be surprised I haven't seen, and it is a little movie called 10 Things I Hate About You.
So these are your contenders,
So
you
here
guys.
we go.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about California Girls.
Please do.
So the director, William Webb, directed a lot of like 80s and 90s kind of like crime and thriller stuff. Most famously, the movie Party Line, which I've never seen. Also, a movie called Sunset Strip and The Banker. Never seen any of this shit. One of the main draws on this movie was that it featured music by Blondie, Queen, Foreigner, The Pretenders, Go-Go's, Police, and Kool and the Gang, among others.
It's pretty loaded.
They didn't pay for shit. I assure you this will never see a DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, you know why it's only on VHS when you see that list of musicians.
Yeah. Quick summary, this is basically DJ Madman Jack is, he's a radio DJ in Southern California, and they're like, Jack, your ratings are low. And so instead of having to save the radio station, he just really has to save his own ass.
Oh, okay, so it's like a twist on Save the Radio Station. It's just a guy trying to save his job.
Yeah, so radio stations are a common trope in these movies. Oh, also the radio station's called KRZY, crazy.
Nice.
And he's gonna set up a competition, $10,000 to whoever is the craziest girl in Southern California. Good setup. Everyone at the radio station's like, how are you gonna get that money? And he's like, advertisements. And so the advertisement people are like, well, everyone's calling in, and so we're gonna put our, it's cyclical. And it works for them, even though I don't think it will work in the real world. Basically, trying to find the most exciting girl in California, and people call in, and it's very much a lot of mundane shit. So people call and be like, my sister jogs to her tennis lesson every day. She's crazy. And then it'll show like a hot girl jogging. And then Madman Jack's like, okay, we got 5 girls working out in the gym on the line, and Karate Karen, a black belt champ of Southern California. And then it'll just show clips of women doing sports. and then over these extended documentary style footage clips, like real people doing sports, they'll play a song. So they'll play like these big songs from these bands. A couple other examples of the crazy shit these California girls do. Hang glide, dolphin trainers at Marineland, Candy the gas pump girl, she pumps gas.
Okay.
Boxing, baseball, singing, riding dirt bikes, footage of the LA Rams cheerleaders, which also is probably not authorized.
They won the Super Bowl today.
They did. They just won the Super Bowl today.
Oh my God. Well,
probably different cheerleaders.
That's funny.
At this point.
The subplot is there's 3 girl roommates who are like, we need that $10,000. We got to figure out how to be the craziest. So they start doing shit like riding horses naked, but it's not even a real horse. It's like their friends dressed as a horse. Then a guy goes out in the street and interviews people being like, what do you think of the California girls? And it's like real footage of like sad dudes being like, I think they're like really hot. Like these aren't like not actors. They're just like, wow. I don't know, they give me a lot of trouble. And then one guy's like, hey, I gotta go smoke this joint. It's like weird, like real person interactions.
I want to smoke a joint.
It ends with the 3 girls naked skydiving against the Heart of Glass by Blondie song, and then landing on the roof of the radio station and winning the $10,000. And then them and the DJ run naked into the ocean.
I mean, I gotta say, that does sound pretty crazy.
They won the $10,000. There's full frontal nudity.
So it's raunchy.
It's raunchy.
Okay.
But it's also like a lot of documentary style footage of just like women doing masculine coded sports against new wave soundtrack.
Are they naked, or they're just doing
Some
sports?
of the only ones that are naked are the 3 girls that try to be really crazy.
Okay.
And then there's like a mud wrestling. There's like a couple things that are more raunchy, but then there's just like these women doing roller derby, or like these women on dirt bikes, like just women doing sports, which was kind of cool. But then it was kind of like, okay, because they played the full song of the songs that they played.
So it's like music videos or something.
It basically was, yeah.
Okay.
So that is California Girls, the motion picture. And I know I said a brief summary, and then I just told you the entire movie.
Mine might be more brief.
Go ahead.
My movie is a movie called 10 Things I Hate About You, which viewers may have heard of before. Sort of teen rom-com version of Taming of the Shrew by one William Shakespeare. Of course, it's not like the Shakespeare language and stuff. It's just the same plot and the character interactions and stuff. It was filmed in and around Seattle and Tacoma, and it takes place at Padua High, which is not actually Padua High, it's actually a high school in Tacoma. This high school called Stadium High.
And if you don't know, Tacoma's like 40 minutes south of Seattle.
The Stadium High looks like a castle and stuff. It's really cool. I believe our friend Jen Kugler actually went to school there. If you're watching, Jen, let us know. I think I heard you say that at one point, and I forgot to check before we started recording. So here we are. Now I'm doing this. New kid, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's baby everybody in this.
Baby everybody.
He's the new kid at school, and he goes there, and he immediately is befriended by David Krumholtz.
Ask any David Krumholtz, you said, right? Ask any woman in her late 20s, early 30s who the hot elf from the Santa Claus is, and they're going to be like, Bernard the elf, David Krumholtz from 10 Things I Hate About You.
But more importantly, he has a small role where he comes back a couple times in ER. He's a patient who's kind of crazy, and he ends up injuring one main character and murdering another. And he came into the store one time, and Matt, our good friend Matt Lynch, had him sign the box for ER season 6, and so it's the best signature we have in the store because it has all the pictures of all the actors, all the characters on the back, and it's Kelly. Kelly Martin was the actress who was playing the character who gets killed, and he crossed her off on there and wrote, "You're welcome, David Krumholtz."
That's pretty great.
He falls in love with the girl who played Alex Mack on that TV show Alex Mack.
She was Alex Mack, wasn't she?
Yeah. So he falls in love with her, and they're like, everybody's like, "Oh, you can't date her. Her dad won't let her date," and stuff like that. And also her sister is like the worst, and her sister is the star Julia Stiles, and she's playing the cat part from Taming of the Shrew, she's just awful, you know, she's the shrew. The whole game is that in order to get to date her, he's going to have to get her sister a date, which is like, oh my God, that's going to be impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. She's like feminist. She likes Riot Girl music.
She's just impossible. How are you going to get through to her? Enter the bad boy of the school.
Do I know you? You see that girl?
Australian hot stuff.
Dude, so hot.
Heath Ledger. If there's ever a movie where like a guy is like is going like, "Hi, I'm a movie star," it's this one, and it's Heath Ledger. So Heath Ledger he's being paid by these people to take her out. Of course, eventually he falls in love with her for real, and
I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you.
she starts to fall for him, and she softens up, and you know, this and that.
And she
there's a bunch
that
of
poem in
that's at the
class.
end. There's a bunch of back and forth where it's like, you know, and it's like, you know, the dad is comedian Larry Miller, and he's constantly talking about how he sees all these pregnant girls at work and how he doesn't want his daughters to become pregnant. So there's a lot of like Shakespearean miscommunications and back and forth and stuff, and it's very funny. It's charming. It's often like cartoonish. Like there's like parts where they shoot guys in the butt with arrows and stuff, or Julia Stiles gets Heath Ledger out of detention by showing her boobs to the detention teacher, and you're kind of like, I don't know if that's appropriate. It's kind of funny, also weird that she gets him out of detention, but then it cuts to them paddle boating around in the Lake Union over there.
Yeah, and they do
it's
paintball.
like,
They do paintball at Gasworks.
They do paintball at Gasworks, which
And
is
you
which
can't
is
climb
weird.
on that shit.
The Fremont Troll shows
Trolls in
up.
there.
And so you know, it all just and you know comes to a head at prom. You know, whether they can go to prom or not go to prom, and who's in love with who, and you know, she's mad because she finds out he got paid to you know, go out with her, but of course he actually loves her, and you know, they're meant to be together. It is a bit funny that like Heath Ledger's like the school bad boy.
He's just hot. He has long
hot,
hair, and he like plays with a lighter.
He's kind of he smokes, and then that's it. But he's not like it's not like, oof, this fucking guy, he's rough. He has rough stuff. You're like, this guy seems like he's probably nice if you talk to him for a minute.
And he is.
And he is. Of course, the 10 Things I Hate About You, which is the poem she writes for class, and she reads it, and it's actually really, it actually got me crying.
Yeah.
Because she starts crying during it when she says it, and
crying.
you're like, God damn, it really got to me.
I hate it when you're not around and the fact that you didn't call. But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
What'd you think?
I loved it. It was great. It was great. I'm really glad I watched it. I'm glad I didn't watch it when it first came out because I wouldn't have liked it. It was like 1999, and it was totally like the opposite of the kind of movie I would have wanted to see back then. I'm glad I'm an old man and I can enjoy the teen comedy.
What is the band in that? Is it the
Letters
Donnas?
from Cleo. Letters from Cleo is
What rom-com has the Donnas in it?
not this one. Letters from Cleo and Save Ferris are playing at the prom here.
Yeah.
And Letters for Cleo plays the end credit song, which is a cover of Cheap Trick's I Want You to Want Me. one last thing I need to mention is that the great Allison Janney is in this, and she's in it. In my opinion, not in it nearly enough. Although there are a bunch of deleted scenes that she was in, so she was in it more, and it's obviously stuff they cut because it's like, it's not necessary. But she's hilarious. She plays the guidance counselor whose name is Miss Perky, and she's when you first meet her, she's like she gives them terrible advice the whole movie, and is also writing erotic fiction. So she's always asking the kids.
I forgot about
she's always asking the kids like, what's something that's like, what's another word for engorged and stuff like that. And she's really funny. So
I'll let you get back to Reginald's quivering member.
Quivering member. I like that.
Well, one thing I want to say is that we got pretty good soundtracks on both of these.
yeah, I mean, I think that like probably my taste would tend more towards the soundtrack on that one.
Yeah.
But this did like bring back a lot of memories because it's like that late '90s stuff where it was like kind of like, oh man, there's still some good music, and also some of this music is bad.
Remember that scene where she's drunk at the party and she gets on the table and starts dancing and then she falls?
Oh yeah.
So funny. So cover art wise, I don't know, because that's pretty. I mean, it's just iconic though.
Yeah, cover art you win because this is just boring to me.
Yeah,
There's
this
just
is
a picture.
just like painted three.
That's
pairs of
great,
boobs.
but I like that. That cover, when you showed me this before, I was like, this is really fun. I like the logo
Yeah.
and the painted girls. And
Also,
then,
if you look on Letterboxd, there's like an even cooler cover that's like this with like
really?
more little detail painted around. So
none of the poster art for this movie is good.
No.
It's all, I mean, it's fine.
it's like they're both like cuties.
If this was like a whole painted cover of all the cast doing fun, goofy stuff,
Yeah.
I'd be like, but-
Right on. I guess it's up to you guys to decide.
Yeah, so-
And this is a tough one too because I love 10 Things I Hate About You, so I can't deny it. Let us know in the comments below. I think that's where we're gonna source our winner. Who is winning this Raunch versus Rom? California Girls, the motion picture?
Or will it be 10 Things I Hate About You, the Shakespearean comedy?
Let us know in the comments what you guys decide. Also, the only way to check this out is to, I guess, like rent it from us. So definitely this is not going in any further in the physical media forms.
Probably not. No, I mean, because just based on like the soundtrack, like I imagine that's strapped on VHS.
Yeah.
Unless they get like a get crazy kind of thing, but it doesn't. It also doesn't seem like it has that kind of cult following.
And
Since I've never
think
heard of it.
All of this like documentary footage too, they probably didn't get releases for anybody who was filmed.
Probably not.
Anyway, so it is kind of like a gem in that regard where it's
Sure,
just like,
for sure.
this is Venice Beach in 1983 or whatever.
Right.
All right, yeah, let us know. And this is our Raunch versus Rom.
Raunch versus Rom.
Raunch versus Rom.
So my first pick is in relation to the question we got from our last mailbag, which was about ninja movies, and it made me. Both the movies are rewatches, and both of them are sponsored by the letter D, and it's called Duel to the Death.
Ooh, double D.
It's directed by Ching Siu-tung, and this was his directorial debut, released by Shaw Brothers' competitor, Golden Harvest. The plot of Duel to the Death is that every 10 years, Japan and China have their top, fighter duel to the death with each other.
聽日呢個時候就係我哋交手嘅時候，無論發生咩事情都好，我一定會盡力而為。我應承過我師傅，帶唔到你把劍翻去。
Like actually to the death.
Like they're gonna sword fight to the death,
Okay.
to show who's the best, right? In a lot of these movies, there's a lot of Japan-China antagonism. Japan invaded China a lot, so there's a lot of these movies when they're historical are anti-Japanese. This one's not so much that, although the Japanese generally are the bad guys in this. So what happens is that the Japanese swordsman is gonna go to China to fight the best Chinese swordsman. Meanwhile, there's this whole plot that the shogun is planning, where all these ninjas are kidnapping all of the masters from China,
Oh, no.
and they're kidnapping them because they're gonna basically fix the fight. Where it's like, well, he's gonna have to fight whoever, but we're gonna capture all these guys and make sure that we win. And also, when they kidnap them, they're going to kidnap them, bring them back to Japan, and then, basically torture them for their secrets so that their martial arts in Japan will be the best. It's like a lot of these martial arts movies where, for me, and I'm sure a lot of people who enjoy this genre, the plot is most of the time secondary, because the plot is where you're hanging all the action scenes.
Yeah.
And the action scenes in this are awesome. There's an early scene where there's all these ninjas attacking on a beach, and they're hugging dudes and exploding. There's all these, all these ninjas just flying around and stuff, popping out of the sand. One scene after another where a bunch of ninjas are fighting a dude. That's pretty much the whole movie. There's another plot where it's like leader of this school wants his daughter to be the swords person to fight in the duel because his school has been shamed at some point, and so he wants her to fight in it, fight the guy from Japan to prove that their school is actually good. So there's that, and there's a little bit of a chaste romance between the Chinese swordsman and her. I'm glad that question came up because it made me rewatch this, and now this would definitely be top of my list of great ninja movies to recommend. And it does climax with a duel, an epic duel between these two, and it does not disappoint in any way. They're on these cliffs by the ocean, and there's waves crashing, and then they're jumping ridiculous heights, and like rocks are splitting in half and falling into the ocean while they sword fight. This would also be a pick of mine for one that deserves a Blu-ray release, because this is not necessarily the best looking, and also like a new translation because the subtitles were pretty bad. The director was a stuntman and action choreographer before this and after this, and he also directed did the action directing for Farewell My Concubine. We also directed the 3 Chinese ghost story movies, which are awesome.
Dude, another movie I watched during my COVID experience was Chinese Ghost Story 2, which I think I liked more than the first one.
I think both,
because it's way wackier.
The first 2 are really good. The third one, not so much.
Okay.
But check it out anyway.
Yeah.
But the first 2 are really solid.
It's so good.
But he directed the same guy, same director.
Cool.
So anyway,
awesome.
Duel to the Death.
我哋醫學嘅術士，你係殺唔晒嘅。
Okay, so the movies that I chose are also kind of on a theme. The theme is crimes and gangs.
Nice.
Okay, so my first movie is Seijin Suzuki's Youth of the Beast. Another movie that doesn't have a Blu-ray.
I know, and I guess...
I mean, any day now, Criterion,
Yeah.
So, Youth of the Beast, Seijin... How do you say Seijin?
Seijin Suzuki.
Yeah. The other 2 movies that I've seen by him, he directed a billion movies, but the 2 that I've seen from him are Branded to Kill and Tokyo Drifter. Very stylish, cool Yakuza, kind of like Japanese New Wave almost movies, starring Joe Shishido, who is a leading man for some of his movies, and he's also just he's been in a million movies. He died a couple years ago. He is recognizable for his cheek implants.
Yep.
He's a cool looking dude, and he's not comical. I mean, his cheek implants are kind of comical, but the vibe that he has is so cool that you're just it works. It works for you. So he plays an ex-cop who got in trouble for embezzlement. He gets released from jail, and he learns that his old partner was murdered, but they made it look like a double suicide with him and a sex worker. And he's like, that's not true. Something's up. So his whole goal is to find who murdered his old partner. So what he does is he poses as assassin, kind of hitman gangster guy, and gets in with one of the big gangs, the Senko gang. And he's like, okay, I'm hired by you guys. I'm going to fucking murder whoever you tell me to. I'm going to get this money back, all these drug deals, whatever. And he goes to the other gang and also is like, hey, I'll spy on this gang. They already think I'm part of their gang, in order to get the most information to figure out who killed his ex-partner. So he's double-crossing these 2 rival families, and the whole movie is him just trying to find this information about who killed his partner by any means necessary. And it's just gloriously violent, super colorful, super super stylish and like stylized. Like there's a lot of like window shots and like the composition is really great, and it kind of breaks a lot of conventional filmmaking rules, I guess. It reminded me a lot of like French New Wave stuff and all of that stuff that's just like very like kind of violently cool. Apparently John Woo was going to direct a remake of this, but then that just like never happened.
That would have
But
been interesting, maybe.
You can definitely see the inspiration on him and like Tarantino from this.
Tarantino's like, I think he dedicated Kill Bill Volume 1 to Seijin Suzuki.
Oh, really?
So he's definitely an influence on, particularly the House of the Blue Leaves sequence in Kill Bill Volume 1. Seijin Suzuki never met a cool shot he wouldn't do.
Yeah, there's like shots of like dude like talking to these like mob bosses basically, and then in the background there's like a two-way mirror situation where you see like a woman like basically like stripping with this crazy headdress on. It's all colorful, just going on in the background of this like super serious talk. A lot of cool shots like that. A lot of like super violent. There's one scene where he's like being tortured because one of the gangs discovered that he was double-crossing them, and it's that like fingernail where they like shove the thing through the fingernails. It's really fucked up. So he like is not shying away from the gore or violence either. So it's just like this hip, stylish, like nihilistic, cool, hyper violent gangster movie. I don't want to like give it away if you haven't seen it, but he kind of figures out what was going on with his ex-partner, and there's a lot of like undercurrents of just like loyalty and friendship. He gets paired with like one of these guys from one of the gangs that's like kind of like a dumb happy-go-lucky dude, and like they form this kind of fun like kind of buddy comedy friendship that happens, and you root for the guy, and it's also just like a feast for the eyes. So I want to watch more of his movies because I've only seen those two. I want to watch I think Gates of Flesh. I want to watch next.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah,
watch that next.
Okay,
that was going to be the one I would recommend to you next.
Cool.
That's not a Yakuza movie, but it's awesome.
So Youth of the Beast, check it out if you like good movies.
So my next movie that begins with the letter D is another movie that I revisited, this time because local luminary Outlaw Vern recently did a whole series of reviews where he reviewed every Sam Raimi movie. It does happen to coincide with Sam Raimi having his first new movie in a long time with the new Doctor Strange movie that's coming out.
What?
Which looks pretty rad, and it looks pretty rad because Sam Raimi directed it. So I went through and I rewatched. I'd rewatched some of them recently, but I rewatched all the Sam Raimi movies I hadn't seen in a while, or one that I hadn't seen at all, which was Oz the Great and Powerful, which I did not hate.
I think I saw that in theaters, but I honestly don't think I've thought about that movie since I saw it in theaters.
It's not that memorable, but it's also not that bad. It's fine. And that was his last movie that he did, which was a while ago.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah. So now
I remember I took my little sister, and she was definitely way younger than she is now. Okay, crazy.
One of the movies I revisited, I had sort of forgotten about, and then you mentioned that you watched this with your sister just this last year, right?
I think the year before this last.
But recently.
But recently, for sure.
Yeah. And this is a movie that, for me, had become something that at the time I remember everybody being like, this is fine. I remember being like, this is good, but... And now I watched it again and was like, this is like a modern horror classic. And I don't know why this isn't, why we are not talking about this more.
Every year from me.
It's true. And it's Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. Like, I think when this came out, I was like, it's not Evil Dead 2 or something. You know what I mean? It's like, because I think he was returning to horror after the 3 Spider-Man movies. And so I think for a lot of us it was like, okay, and then it was like, it's a different kind of horror movie. Yeah. It's not, just only balls to the wall action. This movie is fucking crazy. Like, this lady gets puked in her mouth, directly in her mouth, like 3 or 4 times.
This movie's unhinged.
She gets puked with puke, blood. She's got blood shooting out of her face at one point.
Old lady just sucks on her chin.
Old lady pukes bugs into her mouth at one point. It's like a movie that I'd remembered being like, this is okay, but it's actually full-on Raimi. Part of it, too, I think, is that, like, as far as horror movies go, like, we've been stuck with like a decade plus of these James Wan kind of horror movies, and I'll go on record saying I'm not a huge fan of most of them. They like have crazy stuff in them sometimes, sort of, but they're very like
movies aren't allowed, but like
yeah,
they're not. They don't fucking go.
They don't go.
Like
they don't
this.
go for it, and so. But I even like this. Even one that a lot of people love this year, and one that I begrudgingly liked because of the last half hour was Malignant, and I literally was like bored out of my mind for all of the movie. And then there's this part where she's in jail, and I'm not going to spoil it because if you haven't seen it, skip to the last half hour of the movie. It would be because I'll tell you the first part of the movie. It's like one of those James Wan ghost movies where you're like, what the fuck is happening? Okay, skip to the part where she's in jail. You find out what's fucking happening, and it's bonkers. This movie is the whole movie. So anyway, the point is that like I feel like Drag Me to Hell was like one of those that kind of like I feel like at the time it was a pretty big hit and a lot of people went to see it, but people are kind of like don't mention it a lot.
Also, I think there is a difference because I do think that a lot of people have seen there's the theatrical cut and then the unrated cut.
Yeah, but
the theatrical is only PG-13.
But they're almost exactly
are they the same?
They are the same length, but no, but the theatrical cut has more gore. Like when she kills the cat, there's like gore that sprays on her and stuff. Yeah, nobody's saying it's good to kill a cat. It's a horror movie, Rich. Come on. The plot of the movie, if you don't know, it's like this woman who's sort of she's a nice person and she works at a bank. And one day, this old ugly woman, and she's trying to get ahead in business, and her boss has been like, hey, the VP slot's open, but you got to be more hardcore about this. And so this is the moment.
Give loans.
This is the moment where she decides to be more hardcore, and it's sort of a whole thing about how capitalism is bad and stuff.
Shame me.
So she goes, I'm denying this loan for you. And this woman is like, but I'll lose my house. And then the woman starts freaking out. Then the woman ends up in her car later and attacks her.
Okay, I have a list on Letterboxd of movies that have scary parking garage scenes. It's definitely in it.
She gets this curse put on her that in like 3 days she's going to die, so she has to figure out how to stop this from happening. Meanwhile, she's having all these crazy nightmares. She swallows a fly. She pukes up the fly. Boyfriend's fancy rich parents' house and stuff. Justin Long plays her boyfriend.
Long, but he definitely is very
he's fine in this.
He's perfect, like sad boy Justin Long boyfriend vibe in this, like he does most times.
It's really fun all the way through. It's just a great horror thing. It's Sam Raimi turned up to Sam Raimi levels like we like. And it's got a goat that calls her a bitch at one point.
You face me, you black-hearted whore!
No, Milos, no!
You bitch!
There's everything. There's everything you could want in this movie.
I think I liked it like way more than I did when it came out years ago, and I don't know if it's just because we don't get movies like this very often, or because I just was like being a poo-poo pants when it came out the first time and going like, well, this isn't as good as the other thing that I think is so good or whatever. You know, it's probably a combination of both. At any rate, Drag Me to Hell rules.
The next movie I'm going to talk about takes place over Easter weekend.
Ooh.
This is 1980s. Okay. Oh, yeah. We have to talk about this.
1980s.
1980s, The Long Good Friday. Directed by John Mackenzie. So this movie, we have 3 copies of this movie with 3 very different covers.
None of them great.
And so I'm going to show you guys, starting from the best to the worst. This is still bad.
I like that
it's
one.
Cool.
It's got a good graphic design.
It shows like cool. Okay, so this one, Long Good Friday. This is like a Criterion collection, but cover sucks.
I think it's okay.
It's fine. It's the best we got, but we have Bob Hoskins sipping a drink, and then we have Helen Mirren smoking a cig.
I think I like the colors.
We have all of the people he's investigating upside down on meat hooks. It kind of reminds me of like an old like noir cover.
That's what I mean. Like it looks like almost like a pulp novel cover or something.
Right.
Almost, but it's not that good.
For a Criterion cover, it's kind of lacking.
Well, speaking of lacking.
Yeah, here we go.
Speaking of lacking, we have this one, which is the Blu-ray cover, which is a gun, blowing out smoke with the images of Bob Hoskins and Helen Mirren. Boring.
It's not great. It's weird.
This movie's cool, by the way. I'll get to it. But there's lots to like.
That's why I think it's
dive in to make a cool. Like I'm sure either one of us. Any of us could come up with a cooler cover, and then we have this one's so bad that I almost think it's the best one. Almost.
Yeah.
The Long Good Friday. This is it's a book. It's just a book. It's a paperback.
What's so funny is that's why I like to point out that all this cover art, because this movie is great.
Yeah.
And none of these covers do it justice.
Yeah.
Not even close.
So this movie came out in 1980, John Mackenzie, Bob Hoskins in full Cockney accent greatness, which if you're like me and are not too familiar with Bob Hoskins, when I think of Bob Hoskins, I'm like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Super Mario Brothers, Mermaids. And so like when he's here, like doing his whole fucking like Cockney gangster, like badass shit.
Yeah.
I like couldn't get over it.
Do you think of anybody who might have an old score to settle or something?
He plays, he's the head of like a mafia organization, a mafia type organization in London, and he's trying to get his business a little more straight. So he's trying to get secure investments from the American mafia in order to kind of rehabilitate and revitalize this area of London so that they could host the Olympics at it. It's a huge goal, but he's like, we can make London great again.
I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman with a sense of history, and I'm also a Londoner. And today is a day of great historical significance for London.
The Americans are coming over to kind of see his financial plan and to meet him, and he's like, okay, this is a big weekend. It's over Easter break, Easter weekend, and have to impress them. And then as they come over and they're staying with him and Helen Mirren, or not staying with them, but meeting up with them and everything, key members of Bob Hoskins' organization and friends are being mysteriously murdered, like one after the fucking other in like brutal ways. So this whole movie is Bob Hoskins trying to like desperately like figure out who the fuck is targeting him and his organization, while also trying to like keep the Americans like, oh no, nothing's going on. I have everything under control. Please like give me all this money so that I can make the London Docklands into the new site of the Olympics and like show everyone that I can be this amazing businessman. Apparently it's one of Bob Hoskins' favorite performances that he's ever done. And Helen Mirren, famously when she was given like the script, she was like, okay, cool. John Mackenzie, I'm gonna actually change like all of this shit. I guess it was written as like she was kind of like a poor housewife who was just kind of saying yes to whatever Bob Hoskins does. And she brings like so much more to the table in her role.
Harold and I have no doubt that by tomorrow the problem will be settled.
You sound very confident.
I am.
She basically is like his partner in all of this too, and she makes a bunch of big decisions, and she's a powerhouse in this as well. People were like, I don't know if you should, like John Mackenzie's like, I don't know if you should change all of this, and she's like, no, trust me, like this will be better, and it truly was.
Good instincts on Helen Mirren.
It's like a desperate mob man movie where you see this guy like trying to hold it all together, but everything's slipping through his fingers, and like you even like he's a violent bad guy, but you totally like empathize with him as very much like James Gandolfini-esque, like, Sopranos character, I think. But, like, the people he loves are dying around him, and he's also, like, you can tell he really loves his wife, and, like, but he's also, like, desperately trying to, like, figure out what the fuck's happening, and, like, there's a scene where he gathers, like, all these, like, crooked cops and, like, people he's paying off, and, like, anyone he thinks, like, might be double-crossing him, and he, like, him and his organization, like, they get him all in this, like, meat locker type room and hang him upside down, and he's just, like, walking up and down, like, questioning him. It also culminates in this super hyper-violent murder scene featuring a bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, like, so
shocking.
Intense. It is shocking, and I watch a lot of fucked up shit.
I know.
The end is also, like, you're holding your breath, basically, and then at the end you're like, oh, fuck. If you like mob or gangster movies, like this is one of the greats, like up there with fucking like Goodfellas.
For
and
sure.
Shit.
Bob Hoskins, like one of the best performances
Amazing.
of his career.
I was like surprised because
Yeah.
I just kind of grabbed it, like, oh, I've heard of this title or whatever.
Well, I mean, judging by the covers, you would be like, can't be blamed for ignoring it.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend checking it out. It's like a 5-star movie for me, I think. All right, but we have another dog movie for you guys, like we do every episode. And this one is a dog-umentary.
It is another dog-umentary.
It is called Stray. This came out in 2020, directed by Elizabeth Lowe. First feature of hers.
And it's one of our, it's in our best of 2021 section right now. Selected by John.
Selected by John.
He's a big documentary fan in general. Also documentaries, I guess.
So this is kind of in a similar vein to, if you guys remember us talking about Los Reyes.
Which is my favorite movie, I think, that we've covered in the dog movie segment. Maybe.
It's a good one. This takes place in Istanbul, and it follows a few stray dogs because they are...
well, they're protected there now. They used to not be. It used to be like a free-for-all on killing dogs.
Now it's one of the only countries where it's legal to euthanize or hold captive stray dogs.
So there's
they run free.
So there's a lot of stray dogs.
Seeing this documentary and seeing just like all of these dogs walking around, I was like, okay, like what if I just like walked outside and there's just like all these fucking dogs walking around? That is like completely outside of our reality. Like if we saw a dog walking around, we'd be like, oh shit, someone lost their dog.
Yeah, whose dog is this?
Yeah, like, oh my god, whose dog is this? Whereas people are just walking around alongside like groups of all different types of dogs, and then it's just like they're living their lives.
That are just stray dogs. Yeah, it's pretty interesting because it just follows a few of the dogs. What are their names? It's Zayton,
Nazar, and the puppy's name is Kartal.
Yeah, I thought this movie was good.
Yeah,
and I really liked it. I like the style of it. Cameras that I think are like on the dogs, that are like just. It's a lot of it's shot like dog eye level.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it's from the dog's point of view.
You don't get to know the dogs.
I didn't feel like I really got to know the dogs.
That's the one thing I was. It's hard not to compare this to Los Reyes because of how similar, just subject-wise it was. But it's like I didn't really get to see the personalities of these dogs. Whereas with Los Reyes, we were very much like these are characters. But this one also, I think, in exchange for that, we see a lot of Turkey. Like we see a lot, it goes through the streets, it goes in different locations, whereas Los Reyes was just at the skate park.
I like the laser focus of that movie better. That's just one of my favorite movies I've seen in the last couple of years. But I did like that you're following these dogs through Istanbul. Sometimes
and how they interact with the people as well.
Right, like so you see the people, particularly the homeless kids that like the glue huffing homeless kids that they.
Okay, I was wondering what those bags were.
Yeah, it's all glue. Yeah, or paint. Or whatever, yeah, they're huffing fumes.
Yeah.
All the time.
These dogs they like take care of each other, basically. These kids especially are hanging out with these dogs, and they like know their names, or they call them these names, and they are friendly and familiar with each other, and these dogs come and just kind of hang out. Sleep with them, keep them warm, hang out with each other, share food and stuff, and like at one point there was like a dog fight, and these kids like break it up because they know one of the dogs for sure because one of them is Zayton.
Right.
Very like wise, strong looking pup.
They steal the puppy from like a construction site.
Yeah, cute ass puppy, Kartal. And then this puppy's just kind of interacting with all these bigger dogs, which is super cute. It's basically watching all these dogs interact with each other and the people around the streets. I mean, there's not too much more to it. It's kind of cool to just watch these street dogs are doing with their day. If they don't have an owner who is scheduling out their day and taking care of them, this is what this dog would just like do. Exactly. Wander around, find food, hang out with these guys by a bonfire. Shit on the ground. Sit next to these two women who are like, this dog just shit in front of us, now it's just sitting there.
太可怕了，有点带人。走开，走，宝贝。
That was pretty funny part.
Which I loved. Yeah, fuck those ladies.
I know.
It was really
He
funny.
doesn't understand. You can shit wherever you want. The dog's just like smiling and like sitting side saddle too, which I love. My dog really loved this movie. It was actually pretty incredible. She like heard the noises and was looking around for the dogs, and then she started growling. And then she sat next to me and then laid down on the couch next to me. And literally her eyes were on the screen for the last 35 minutes of this movie. I kept like looking over to see if she was asleep, and she was just watching the dogs move around on this movie.
That's
and
awesome.
I like Googled if dogs could like see movies, and with big TVs, like big HD TVs, especially with like dogs and movement, they do recognize.
That's it's true.
Which was crazy. I've never seen a dog like actually like watch a movie, and I was like, my dog's watching
Yeah.
a movie with me.
I never knew that dogs couldn't do that until I was dog sitting this one pair of dogs, and one of the dogs doesn't like horses in movies.
Oh no.
The horse just came on the screen. It wasn't, there was no horse noises, no galloping or
And the
neighing or
dog's
anything.
like, that's
And he
fucking
started going,
horse.
"Rrrr." He started growling at the TV.
It's so funny.
That was I didn't know that either until then, and that was like a few years ago, and I was like, you fucking kidding me here?
And now my little dog is just like wide-eyed, like watching these stray dogs walk around, and I'm like, oh my God, is she like remembering when she was walking the streets when she was a stray dog? And like, oh my God. Anyways, we follow these dogs around.
Yeah, there's not even much of an arc. There's a through line with these kids, and it sort of ends when these like street kids get taken in by the authorities. Cartal gets taken away. There's a title card that's like.
Also throughout the movie, they keep putting up these philosophy quotes.
It's fascinating to think about how they got this footage and stuff too, which same with
Right.
Los Reyes, where, I watched an interview with them and they talk about how they spent all this time with the dogs, and so the dogs were basically like, didn't give a shit they were around, so they could get really natural stuff happening. And the same as with this, the director, she must have just been like in there
Following
with
the
these
dogs,
dogs
yeah.
for like a year or two and just like going, okay, and then like, you get to the editing room and you're like, all right, what do we got? We got all this footage of me following dogs around for the last couple of years.
Right.
Like, let's cut this down to 72 minutes.
My favorite part was the end credits where that dog was singing along to the,
that's
the
great.
chant. It was like a prayer
It
chant
was a Muslim
or something,
prayer
yeah.
from the,
And our main dog is just laying there like listening, and then starts like slowly like kind of howling to the prayer chant over the end credits, and that was like the most special, best part of the movie, I think.
Yeah, that was really good.
I liked this movie fine.
Yeah.
But I also I didn't think there was as much of a special quality as Los Reyes had.
It was hard not to compare it to that in my head. I was trying to
but it's
I was trying to go
the other thing.
but it's so similar like in style too. There's even some shots where they get like close-ups of their paws or whatever. Where I
when
was
she
kind of
hurts
like,
her paw in the dog fight, and then she's like holding it out, and then the kids are like kissing it and like massaging it. It was very, very sweet. There's a lot of sweet like human interactions with these dogs, kind of like both on their own. They're both having to survive, and it just like it really highlights the trusting and loving nature of dogs.
Yeah.
Which I got all like emotional about.
We're coming off of a dog called Vengeance or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I'm like, this is a much more empathetic portrayal of pups than some of the movies we've been watching lately.
This probably wouldn't have been on my radar if we didn't do this show. So.
For sure, yeah, definitely.
No, that's awesome. How many
Absolutely.
paws would you give it?
I give it 3.5.
3.5 out of 4 paws?
3.5 out of 4. You can do half, right? Can we do half?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, because I feel like it's weird, but you feel it's like a dog with
It's
a
like-
short leg or something.
Or like a dog, like, I don't know.
He has an extra paw on one of his. I don't know. I'm giving it 3.5 paws.
I think 3.5 sounds good. I'll give it 3.5 paws too.
because it's not quite 4.
Yeah.
3
sounds a little short. So yeah, Stray 2020, Elizabeth Lowe, check it out. I wonder what else she's gonna do in the future.
I don't know,
First
but I
feature.
mean, this is cool. But this is cool, and I mean, definitely like it's gorgeously shot and beautifully made.
Oh, yeah,
and stuff,
for sure.
So, like, it's hard to not recommend, but it didn't hit me like straight through the heart.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe also a good double feature with Keddy about the cats of Istanbul.
That's true.
That is true.
That's true. There you go.
I haven't seen that one.
There you
but
go.
I know it.
Cats and dogs living together in your DVD player. What do we have next?
Next time we have a dog with an occupation, a dog-upation, if you will.
We're gonna switch it up again. We're going back in time. We're gonna do a little movie called The Shaggy DA.
Over the score! Curly, my boy, it's a slammer, ending in a landslide of laughter. Walt Disney Productions' The Shaggy DA.
Say it again, Sam.
The Shaggy DA. Soon in a kennel near you. Woof.
Look at him! Oh my god, I'm actually like so stoked for this.
We got,
because I haven't seen this. I've only seen the Tim Allen one.
Dean Jones and Suzanne Plachette teamed up in another Disney animal movie, another Disney dog movie. So
Canine
I haven't seen this
Candidate
since I was a
edition.
little kid.
I'm really excited just for how absolutely bonkers it appears to me.
Every time we gotta take a huge fucking left turn from wherever we were before.
We
so
do.
you know, this naturalistic documentary about dogs hanging out in Istanbul. Fucking next thing about a guy who gets turned into a fucking dog.
Fucking playing fucking roller derby on the back.
Roller derby.
Are you kidding me? Maybe that'll hit Kevin a little more emotionally.
This one might hit me right in the straight through the heart.
Well, what's in that bucket?
Nothing. I mean,
Stickers.
some stickers. There's stuff in here, but it's no movies.
No movies.
No movies.
I hope you guys liked our episode number 33.
I think it was pretty good.
Our Super Bowl Sunday, Baconator Sunday.
Football, yeah, geez. Super Bowl Sunday, Baconator Sunday.
Valentine's Day Eve.
Valentine's
Wow,
Day Eve. We didn't even
Valentine's-
mention Valentine's Day.
Yeah, neither of us did Valentine's Day themed movies at all. I think Drag Me to Hell is pretty romantic.
Yeah, and so is...
Bob Hoskins loves his wife.
Bob Hoskins does love his wife. There's that really cute scene in that movie where they're laying in bed together and it's cute.
There you go. Happy Valentine's
Happy
Day, everyone.
Valentine's.
Subscribe. Click that subscribe button.
Share with your friends.
Definitely share this
Like,
around if you like it.
comment.
Definitely comment and let us know who won the Raunch versus Raunch today. I think for me it's a clear winner. But actually, but who knows? It's
Who
not,
knows, though?
Who knows? Check out the podcast, Scarecrow Radio. Check out Soundtrack Cinema with Mark Steiner, who allegedly one of these episodes will be on here talking about a monkey movie.
Maybe it'll be on our Patreon.
Maybe.
Let us know, speaking of that, let us know if you have any ideas for what you would love to see on a Patreon. We want to make it just like a cool, members-only, after hours,
After hours.
hip, cool bar club of all of our content. And also, if you want to rent movies, come into Scarecrow, or we have our Rent by Mail program, which means no matter where you live in the United States, you can rent shit from us.
All the links are below.
Letterbox list and all that fun stuff.
And if you want to just send us some questions, comments, anything you want us to talk about, if you want to send us presents, viva@scarecrow.com.
Until next time,
Viva Physical Media.
Goodbye.